I had a friend over the other day. Some of you might know him, Ben Leftwich, and I'd like to actually get him on here to teach about this. But he's been studying the mystics and contemplative prayer for like 10, 15 years now, and he teaches it. And there's something he shared with me. It's a Brother Lawrence quote. I'm gonna share it with you right here, if I can find it. He's talking about the first 10 years of him seeking God, and actually specifically determining to only think of God's presence all the time. So he says, "It seemed to me that the creatures, reason, and God himself were against me, and faith alone for me. I was troubled sometimes with thoughts that to believe I had received such favors was an effect of my presumption, which pretended to be at once while others arrived with difficulty, at other times that it was a willful delusion and that there was no salvation for me. When I thought of nothing but to end my days in these troubles, which did not at all diminish the trust I had in God, and which only served to increase my faith, I found myself changed all at once, and my soul, which till that time was in trouble, felt a profound inward peace, as if she were in her center and place of rest." What I wanted to address specifically here is when he said, "It seemed to me," first he said, "I fell often and rose again presently. It seemed to me that the creature's reason and God himself were against me, and faith alone for me." So this was 10 years of Brother Lawrence practicing the presence of God, trying to practice the presence of God every moment, trying to abide in the secret place of the Most High every second of his life. It felt like everything was against him, even God was against him. It was almost like, I would say, kind of what I've been feeling lately, like, God, it almost seems like you don't want this for me, like you're working against me not to have this. And so I think and I don't want to project this on anybody, and I'm certainly not going to project this on myself. I'm up for believing, let's just go right into heaven and things just go from glory to glory. I mean, that's what the scripture says, right? We can go from glory to glory. But perhaps we are, and we don't always feel like we are, you know? But see, I think there's a principle here, and the way Ben was explaining it, I don't know if I can reiterate it the way he did, but there is a time where it's something Maria said earlier today, where she was telling me she wasn't feeling God's presence, and she heard Neville talk about Walter Butler, and he spent a whole year. Doesn't say he was feeling God's presence at all. He would wake up at 2 a.m. in the middle of the night, and his whole reason for doing that was he just said to the Lord, he said, I just want to keep you company. He just felt like, we all have our needs and we're coming to you with your needs. But, it doesn't seem like anybody ever wants to really just sit and be with you, and I think the way Neville described it was there wasn't a lot of presence. There wasn't anything but his faith that God was there, and that there was a love in his heart, that he was giving an offering of love of his presence. So Perhaps there may be a time in this journey that before we get to experience God's presence, because that's what we're looking for, intimacy, perhaps before that, we have to give an offering first of our presence without getting anything in return. And there's a lot to that, actually. There's something, you're never going to be able to have this opportunity ever again. You know, we're only here for a little while. We're going to die soon. Hopefully, we'll be transfigured. I'm believing for that. Or you might be martyred. I'm hoping it's going to be one of those two for us. I hope it's not we just die of old age, and, you know, I hope things radically change and we get baptized in fire, and the glory within us is going to come forth in a spectacular way, and this is going to be the end time bride. So I'm believing for that, but what I'm saying is, you're never going to have this opportunity to give God an offering where you get nothing back. You know, in heaven, you're going to be before him. You're going to experience all the glory. It's all going to be right there. Everything's going to be great. But now, with all of this, everything contrary to your faith, everything contending with your faith, everything going against your faith is coming against you. And so even might have to be your own feelings, your own experience of God's presence. There may have to be a time where the only reason why you're before the Lord is to keep him company, you know, where you don't, it's all by faith. You're believing that he's there, and it's not about how well you do it. You know, relationships aren't about that. It's about spending time with each other. You know, it's about presence. And so I think that's what this is about, because what Brother Lawrence experienced, what Walter Butler experienced, and I believe Neville experienced this from messages I've heard. And I think almost every mystic, they explain it in different ways, but when you start connecting all the dots, I think everyone that has broken through in this place, in this Mount Zion, open heaven, has been through this phase with the Lord. And it's not really a phase where God's making you do something. It's an opportunity. It's a privilege. He's giving you the opportunity to give him an offering of your faith and your love without getting anything back. And what that means is you set aside time for him, you know? And this is what friends do, you know? I suppose he could be like, hey, you know, that's not necessary. Just come and I'll be right there waiting for you, you know? And we'll spend time, and you'll enjoy it and I'll enjoy it and everything will be wonderful. I suppose he could do that, but I don't think that's the ways of the Lord, and I don't think this is how he's perfecting his bride. So I just wanted to share that and give some perspective on if any of you guys are also going through kind of a season where it seems like the opposite, you know, you're going backwards, even though, you know, you're pressing in, you're really trying to consecrate your life, dedicate it to the Lord, dedicate it to intimacy with him, and then all of a sudden it seems like there's no progress and you're going backwards. I think some people are going through that. I don't think I'm the only one. And I think there's a reason for it. And I think this is our time to be perfected. This is part of the purifying process. This is part of the testing, refining in the fire process of perfecting the bride. And I think it's an honor and it's a privilege. And another thing I want to say, I don't think we have to do it perfectly. I don't think this is about how well we do it. I think it's about whether we keep the faith, whether we keep running the race and don't give up. That's the offering. That's the offer. The offering is our faith. We're gonna keep believing despite what we feel. Despite if it takes a year and nothing's happening. I don't think it will. It could be, these seasons could be very short. It could be one season, where you really get tried and tested, and then like Brother Lawrence, it's just peace, just the Lord is just it's just glory, you're in the secret place of the Most High. It could be that, or it could be, this could be seasonal. I don't know. What I believe is, I think the forerunners have created a path for us. There's been many forerunners that have opened the door for this, and I think it was the hardest part they had to go through. I think it's going to be easier for us. I think there's an acceleration of grace for us. So if they can do it, and it's going to be easier for us, we can do it. If Walter Butler can get up at 2 a.m. and only for reason to spend time with Jesus, just to keep him company. And let me add that what happened in that experience is, after a year of him spending time with Jesus, waking up at 2 a.m. in the morning just to keep him company, even though he didn't feel him, even though he wasn't getting anything blessing for himself. It was just to bless the Lord. It was out of love. He was giving an offering. After that year, he heard somebody walking up the gravel. He heard the door open, the door shut. Not something in the spirit. The Lord actually walked in and told him, "You spent a year with me, keeping me company. Now I'm gonna keep you company every day for the rest of your life." And from that day on, he had a face-to-face walk with the Lord, where I believe, like, any time the Lord was right there, whether it was in the spirit or an actual, visitation in the flesh. I don't think it mattered. The Lord was with him since that day forward. And the rewards in this are just extraordinary. They're beyond words. You can't explain it. But I think that's it. I think we're gonna do more videos on this. We'll see if it helps people. And I think it's important to keep doing videos, keep having dialogue, because we need to keep encouraging each other. We need to keep on this path and keep talking about it, keep the revelation flowing, keep discussing these things, because we're in this together. The bride is not just an individual. It's a body of people. So we're on this journey together. All right. God bless.